We've been away for a bit, but now we're back and we're showing you behind the scenes in our bakery too. So we thought we'd show you our lovely, gorgeous cookie bakery today.
Yeah, so we're not in our lovely kitchen that we're normally in, but we're in
our... to say, we're not in our lovely clothes and you looked at this.
Yeah, well, to be honest, we're not. We're in our chef whites, we're in our bakery. We thought we'd give you a bit of a behind the scenes.
So this is where all the magic happens.
It really does.
Every cookie that leaves our building comes from this kitchen.
And to think, we baked how many cookies?
I actually think it's in the millions.
Yeah, it is.
It's big, it's big.
It's like over 3 million.
I think it's more.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, true, if you take every product into account. And it's all happening out of here, believe it or not. So dream big, because you can make it happen out of one tiny room, because we did.
We've got really, really beautiful mixers as well.
We do.
This one is called Rob. We named after Chelsea's husband. She actually just got married.
And so did she.
We actually got married 11 days apart. Can you believe that?
We do everything together. We even get married together.
And this one over here is called Beyonce.
Because she is bigger and better and she is bootylicious.
So let's get going.
We're going to show you how to make an incredible apple cookie pie.
So the apple cookie pie, when I was younger, I always wanted to perfect this recipe because it's an always go-to recipe everyone has in their cookbook. But this is a bit different because we're using a cookie base as the crust.
Exactly.
So it's not sickening. You can go back for more, like maybe like 10 servings, honestly, I'm not joking. We're gonna serve it with vanilla ice cream and we're gonna start with peeling 6 apples. So I'm gonna finely cut these, well not finely, maybe.
You're just gonna dice them, aren't you, really?
Gonna dice them.
So we've got,
you can pass them over to me.
Perfect. So we have got 6 Granny Smith apples. You don't have to use Granny Smiths, but we recommend green apples because they've got a slight tartness to them, and you actually don't want your apples to be too sweet because we're adding lots of sugar to make a divine caramel, and that's just going to sweeten the whole thing up. So the sort of sourness that you get from the apple, especially a Granny Smith, is perfect.
I have actually made this with Pink Ladies, and I'm telling you, it's not good.
It's too sweet.
I never thought something could be too sweet, but let me tell you, it's too sweet.
Another apple that would work though is like a Braeburn or a Cox apple. They'd be really nice.
So many apples.
I do. I know my apples.
You're reeling them off.
Yeah.
What would you go for?
To be honest, for this recipe, definitely Granny Smith because they're, I think, have the most tartness, and actually, as the pie crust, we're using cookie dough instead of pastry. It is sweeter than a normal short crust pastry or even puff pastry.
I'm just cutting these, taking the cores out. You can use an apple corer, but I don't have time for that. A good old knife is easy. So I've just cored my apples, taken out the middle. You don't need to use a fancy apple corer, I'm just using a plain knife. I'm gonna start cutting them. We want them to be this size.
So
how big would you say that is?
2.5 centimetres.
I'm going to put them straight into a pan.
And the reason why we're not dicing them really small is because we want it to taste like apple mix. We don't want it to taste like apple puree, and texture is everything, like in everything that we make. We're all about texture, aren't we? So you want to know that you're eating apples in your apple pie.
It's not apple puree.
Exactly, otherwise it just tastes like baby food.
Literally.
The worst.
Where would you say your best apple pie is that you've ever had?
Do you know where?
Chicken Shop.
Chicken Shop. They make the best apple pie, but this tops it.
This tops it, but theirs is pretty good. But this is very different.
Yeah, I love how they come round. If you've ever been to Chicken Shop, it's basically a chicken shop, but it's a good one. And they come round with the dish of apple pie for dessert, and they literally hold it in front of you and spoon it directly onto your plate. And I always have double cream and ice cream.
No, but she asked to leave the whole pie. It's not like, can I have a slice of pie? It's like, just leave the whole pie.
It's so good. So to our apples, we aren't making a caramel separately. We love to make your life really easy. So we're shoving it all in one pan together. So our apples are gonna go in with our cinnamon, our vanilla, our sugar, and we're just gonna bubble it all the way together so that it makes a gorgeous caramelly filling. If you do want exact quantities and everything, don't forget to read the comments below and just make sure you follow the recipe there because all the info is below. I need 325 grams of brown sugar. We're using light brown sugar now. We've got massive flour sugar bins over here.
Would you like me to get it because I'm standing this way?
I can pull it towards me. So into the sugar bin.
Chelsea could actually fit in this sugar
So
bin.
could
It's
you.
big.
She says it like she's so tall.
No, no, but it is a big one. I think it gives you like
It's a big
at
one.
least 70 to 80 kilos.
Wow. Yeah, I probably could fit in there then. Little bit more.
You want to get in?
Yeah, well, I'm trying not to put too much in because I'm thinking I'm working with such a big shovel here.
When we were in the pandemic, when I saw this brown sugar, I used to close my eyes and I used to pretend it was sand because all I wanted to do was go on holiday. So
I'm still pretending it's sand. I still want to go on holiday.
But I'd pretend that was sand, and I said to Chelsea one day, should I just lay the whole floor with brown sugar and just put my feet in it to pretend I'm at the beach?
That's good, that can go in.
And that's in.
And then I've got some vanilla here, and it's just a teaspoon of vanilla that can go in. I'm just gonna pour that in. And then it's a tablespoon of cinnamon.
We're just using ground cinnamon.
Perfect.
Tiny bit more.
And it's a teaspoon and a half of salt.
Always put salt. It's very important. When something is so sweet like this apple pie mix, you also want to counteract it with the salt.
And the best part, butter. So unsalted butter, we need 75 grams of that. Just put that on there, it's very soft, which is perfect.
Should we see if I can get it correct?
You probably can. She's so good with measurements, honestly.
That might be, let's try. I don't think that actually is right. But let's try. That might be like 110. Oh, 66.
Close. Perfect. So everything all in one pan, and then finally we just want to add some corn flour. So
No, not yet.
no,
We don't add the corn flour yet. So what we're going to do is we'll go in. So now it's just the water.
So we're going to put in 225 ml of water, leaving 10 ml behind because that's what we're going to use with our corn flour to thicken the whole mixture.
Right, so now we're just going to give this a stir.
Beautiful.
It doesn't look the best right now, but I'm telling you, once this butter's melted and the apples start to soften and the caramel starts to develop, let me tell you, this is, I could eat it on its own, I could spoon it straight into my mouth.
Precious.
So I'm just melting this down. I'm going to turn this up to a medium heat. And we're going to get this bubbling.
And then with the remaining 10 ml of your water, you want to mix that with some corn flour. What this is going to do is this is going to thicken the whole filling. So you know, like that McDonald's apple pie filling? I hope you know what that tastes like. Because if you haven't had a McDonald's apple pie in your life, have you lived?
No.
But yeah, some people find it disgusting.
How?
I know, I don't know.
Who have you ever met that's found it disgusting?
Honestly, there are some
If you do
people-
find it disgusting, please comment below because we'd love to have a chat.
Yeah,
because
we would.
that's all.
I can tell you why it's not disgusting. I've actually got a friend that buys a McDonald's apple pie, takes the whole filling out and fills it with McFlurry and puts the apple filling
Who?
back on.
Please tell everybody on camera who does this.
My friend Georgina.
What?
Yeah, she loves it. So the gloopiness of that McDonald's apple pie filling, that's what our friend cornflour is going to do for our filling. So it just adds that like layer of velvetiness.
It just makes, you know when you make a gravy
Exactly, and you want to thicken
you want to
it.
thicken it up. This is like normally you can reduce this and reduce this down, but you don't want the apples to overcook. So this allows you to thicken the syrup
Exactly.
and not overcook the apples.
So I'm just going to pour 20 grams of corn flour into this.
It's such a little amount, but it does so much.
It
I
really
didn't know
does.
this when I was testing this recipe, and I put in like 200 grams. When I mean I made a gloop, it was awful. So you want to make sure
You want to mix it till it's a paste.
So just make sure it's all mixed.
And then once it is, and you don't need to use warm water or anything, cold water's great.
So I'm not going to add this in until my apples are slightly more cooked than they are at the moment. So I'm just going to set this aside. So I'm going to set this aside now, and then we'll come back to that in a bit.
In the meantime, while the filling is cooking,
we're going to make the best bit.
We're going to make the base and the top of our pie, which is cookie dough. So obviously we've replaced this with pastry, and we're going to show you how to make a divine base pastry cookie dough ready for when our filling is nearly there.
So we are going to be using our gorgeous KitchenAid today, but you can
use electric beaters if you don't have a stand mixer.
Or if you wanted, you could do this as melting the butter and adding everything in and mixing it by a spoon, because this is we're baking this from fresh. So you don't have to chill this, but if you did want to, you can, but we always find it's a lot easier to maneuver the dough when it is fresh.
Yeah, so the reason is, unlike pastry that needs to be cold, you don't want it to be cold for this, because you want to press it into our pie mould, and actually when it's softer it's easier to do that. We've got 250 grams of unsalted butter already in.
Need a bowl to weigh everything out.
And now we're going to add our sugar. So we are using golden caster sugar. We always bake with it here, but you can use regular caster sugar if you don't have it.
And
we need 400 grams. Perfect.
Beautiful. Hold on, I've got a tiny bit too much in there.
Beautiful. So going in with 400 grams of sugar.
I'm going to give this a little stir.
And that's looking good.
It smells so yummy.
And then what you want to do is you want to lightly cream your butter and sugar together until it's pale and fluffy.
It's delicious already, just butter and sugar. Did you used to like lick the bowl at this point as a kid?
I tried not to.
That was my work. Right, we can get some vanilla in.
Yeah.
While that's creaming.
A teaspoon of vanilla. And we use vanilla paste, but you can use extract if it's really good. We try not to use essences, we always try and use extracts. They just have much better flavour.
Also be really careful with this. It is bubbling now on a rolling boil is where we want to take it, but it's boiling, so be careful. So I'm cracking in 2 eggs.
Perfect. And I'm just scraping down the bottom of the mixer so that we can get it really nicely creamed. And it's not a massive quantity, so it's quite a big mixer. That's better.
That's good.
So now we're going in with 2 eggs.
Beautiful.
Turn that speed up because you want to get that creaming really, really well.
Giving this another stir.
The table's shaking.
This is shaking, that's shaking, and this is boiling. If this goes over me, this is not going to end well. This happens sometimes.
This is good though, it's creaming really nicely, just what we're looking for.
And the whole table's going to collapse. That's good.
And then again, I'm just going to scrape down once more to get those extra bits around the side. And we can also go in with a pinch of salt at this point.
I literally was just coming with a pinch of salt.
Oh, amazing. We're in sync. For us, we reiterate this all the time, and you're probably bored of hearing it if you watch us, but salt and sweet balance is so important. So it's really important you season your sweet food as well as your savoury food. So back in for a final beat, and then we can go in with our dry ingredients, which is just the flour.
So this is really simple. It's basically like a cake mixture if you actually think about it, but the ratios are slightly different, so you get a different consistency once baked.
So everything's in here apart from the flour, but I think you need to add the corn flour.
So I'm going to add the corn flour into my apple pie mixture. So the one we made before is going straight in. And you're going to see it goes a tiny bit of a different colour. It goes lighter.
And that's going to really thicken it, isn't it?
Yep. This is going to make this into the most incredible, gorgeous syrup.
It goes really thick and velvety and rich and juicy. Everything you want from a pie.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down a little bit because it's boiling too much.
It smells incredible. I suggest making this if you've got anyone coming over that you want to impress, because they'll just smell apple, sugar and cinnamon.
Right, we're going to leave this now for 3 minutes, and Chelsea's going to add the flour to that.
I'm going to add my flour. So I'm now going in, sorry, I'm like, where's Wally? I'm going in with 450 grams of self-raising flour. So we use self-raising flour for this.
We want the rise, the raise.
We want the puff.
The poof.
But if you don't have self-raising flour, you can always add plain flour and just add 1 teaspoon of baking powder for every 100 grams of plain flour.
There you go.
It's just good to know in case you ever need. Oh, I didn't get too much outside of the thing there. That was
well
good.
done. You should get a medal.
Yeah. Don't beat this on a really high speed because it will
Fly out to the bowl.
Yes.
But we're using a mixer which is slightly bigger than your
average one at home.
KitchenAid. This is when we use it in here.
So you can take it a bit further, less chance of getting it all over your face. Perfect.
So we're just mixing this until it combines and comes together.
And then a dough.
It comes to a dough and it's quite sticky, so I always like to put some gloves on when I'm moulding the bowl. Not the bowl, the pie dish.
This is
All good?
perfect. Yep, fab. We're nearly there now. Just try and get rid of any of those flour marks around the edge of the bowl.
What would happen if you didn't? Would the recipe change?
It shouldn't, but you just want to make the most out of what you've got in the bowl. I think we're good. So our cookie dough is formed. Just going to get the bits off of the paddle.
Let me show them what this looks like. So it's just it's a little bit like it's a harder cake mix basically, with less eggs. Nice. Do you need anything else?
Nope.
Eating raw eggs? Well done. Don't do that at home, but maybe do.
It's delicious. So Moorish.
Yeah, but cookie dough is.
I know.
I've got small gloves here.
Getting every last bit off. There we go. I'm just going to take this to the sink.
Every time I put these gloves on, I always feel like I'm going into surgery and I'm a doctor.
The doctor will see you now.
The doctor will see you now. I never like the gloves which are a little bit too big, otherwise I actually can't feed anything. Right.
So this is our pie dish. This is a 24 centimetre enamel pie dish.
Enamel.
Enamel. If you don't have one like this, you can use any pie dish you have that's roughly the same centimetres. Anything from around 18 to 26 would be good. If you go above 26, it may spread differently, so we recommend using something of this size.
So I'm going to put 700 grams as the bottom.
So that's the base of our pie, isn't it?
600.
600?
Yeah, 600. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is this is so much fun.
Oh,
This feels
I
like,
love watching.
it's so squishy. I'm going to, with my hands, start pushing up the dough. As you can see, it's quite wet.
And this is why we don't want it chilled.
No, because you wouldn't be able to do this.
Look how easy Christelle's moulding that. It looks amazing.
Feels like Play-Doh.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Right, and while this is done, I'm actually going to put that on a lower heat. You want to make sure it's an even base because you want to make sure you can get a bit of cookie with every bite. So I'm not going to take it to the edge. The top bit I'm going to take further.
And as we're serving this out the pie dish, we're not trying to take it out. Remember, you're just going to be going in with a spoon. So what you really want is a nice ratio of crust to filling. And Christelle's now trying to even it out with the back of her hand, you can see, and that's how you get it nice and even across the whole dish. And doing that means that when you serve it, you get just the right amount of bite on the base, ooey gooey filling, and then crunch on the top.
Okay, so I'm going to show you, we're going to put this aside, the top.
Yeah, because your remaining dough is going to be for your lid. So we'll just put that to the side, and our filling is nearly there now. So we'll show you our filling, but what's really important is you cool down your filling until it's completely cold before putting it in, because if it's still warm, it's going to melt the butter in the cookie dough, and it's not what you want. So the filling needs to be completely chilled before you bake. You can actually make the filling a day in advance if you want.
Oh, I always make it a day in advance. It actually gets better with age. I'm not joking.
Yeah, no, because the flavours develop. So what we can do is we can show you what the pie filling looks like when it's complete.
Once this mix is chilled, it becomes thicker. So the easiest way to cool this down if you can't wait to bake it is pour it into a shallow tray. If you keep it in a bowl, it's going to keep the heat. So anything shallow and literally flat is going to make sure this mix cools down really quickly, and you can either put it outside if it's cold, make sure it's covered, or animals will get it, or just put it in the fridge. Right, I'm going to turn this off.
And that's the right consistency that you're looking for.
And I've got one here as I made earlier, so we can make sure that we show you this recipe from start to finish. So here we have our apple pie chilled filling. I honestly could scoop this into my mouth with a spoon. You actually don't need to put this always just in an apple pie. You could have this with like Greek yogurt, couldn't you, for breakfast?
Or over ice cream, anything.
So as I said before, it thickens when it gets cold. So look here, it's like the apples have gone a little bit translucent.
And it's really saucy, but it's thick, but it's not too thick. It's gravy consistency. Without sounding weird, it's gravy consistency. And actually, you want it to still be saucy at this point because it goes in the oven and you don't want it to dry out. There's nothing worse than cutting into an apple pie with a dry middle. There's just nothing worse.
No.
Anyway, chilled mix going straight into our pie base.
Actually, oh.
Wow.
Get all the apples.
Yeah. And look at that colour. It's so gorgeous.
Gravy.
I know, all I'm seeing now in my head is a roast dinner.
Right, that's perfect. We'll put that to the side.
And now with our remaining dough, we're going to make our lid.
So what we want to do is take the remaining dough, let's put this over here, and I want to squish it in my hand. I want to try and make it as similar shape and size to the pie mould, basically.
And if you were making this a day in advance, a bit like your filling, and you wanted to get ahead, you absolutely can, but just make sure you chill your dough in the fridge overnight, as it obviously contains butter, but bring it up to room temperature before doing this, because it's so much easier to work with when it's soft.
So I just laid that, and it's okay if a little bit pops up. It actually makes the dough look really nice once it's baked.
It's really rustic,
Yeah.
isn't it? This is like a pie your mama would make.
I don't think it's like your mama. I think it's like your grandma.
Your grandmama.
It's your grandmama. Grandmama? I've never used that word.
It's spilling out and it just looks like gravy, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's
this is a steak
caramel.
and ale pie.
Oh my God, I wish it was.
Oh, really?
I love a steak pie.
So normally if I was making this with short crust pastry or any type of pastry, I'd probably crimp the size and make it look all pretty and fancy, but it's gonna puff up in the oven and all your hard work is literally gonna disappear. So don't worry about that. It's ready to bake.
And what you want to do is you want to get this in an oven at 175 degrees on the middle shelf for around 30 to 40 minutes. So you do need to check, all ovens vary. For us, this takes 40 minutes. But if you find at home you've got a fan oven that's really powerful, definitely check it after 30. And what you're looking for is a completely golden crust, and you can almost see the caramel bubbling beneath the surface. And when it's piping hot, it's ready to serve.
Should we get it in?
Let's get it in.
And here we have the baked
Apple cookie pie. Oh my God, this is what dreams are made of.
I've got one more step. You're going to get a tiny bit of golden caster sugar and you're going to sprinkle it on the top. It's a bit like if you're sprinkling glitter on top of a cake.
It just gives it that rustic, home-baked apple pie feeling that you want when you're eating pie.
It's like Salt Bay.
You are Sugar Bay right now.
Yeah. And
that's just brought it to life. That is what you call an apple bleeping pie.
Fab.
Oh my God,
I'm so happy
get me
with
a
this.
spoon. I've got my vanilla ice cream ready. This is not an ad, but Carte d'Or Vanilla is the one.
It's the most scoopable, most creamiest.
Oh, it's soft, it's
perfect with
creamy,
an
it's
apple pie.
vanilla-y, it's everything you want with an apple pie. I just can't believe you didn't get me any double cream.
I didn't think that's what you needed for it. You said get the ice cream, so
I
I got the
know,
ice cream.
I know.
Actually, she said she was going to get the ice cream, and what did she do? She didn't get it, but I got it. I knew she'd forget.
She gets everything. She's
Right,
she's the gold star Blondie.
we
I'm
go
just the fat pig.
Shut up. You see what this looks like in the middle?
Yes.
Let's get some spoons.
And guys, like we said, do not forget to like and subscribe, please, below, and read the recipe because
make this, because
you
I
need
swear
to
you're
make
gonna love
this.
it.
And please tag us in all your bakes at Blondie's Kitchen on social media because we love seeing what you create.
Can I serve, or do you want to?
I want you to.
Okay, where do I go first, you reckon?
Corner,
Corner.
dig in. How many servings do you get out of this, do you reckon?
One.
We probably shouldn't say, yeah.
So I always like my crust a little bit crunchy,
Same.
but I like the inside.
To be gooey.
So
Oh yeah. Oh. Oh, look at that filling. Yum. Wow.
I haven't done this very well, have I?
I think it's perfect.
Now it just needs a scoop of ice cream,
And then we're ready.
and then we're ready.
So guys, this is how you make our incredible apple cookie pie. Please make it, tag us, share it, like and subscribe, and you can see the full recipe below. We can't wait to see what you think.
Enjoy.
Cheers!